Hello? Why don't I hear anything? Oh. Helps have that end plugged in. Let's take care of that. Oh, look at that. Now I can hear everything. How fantastic. Welcome to the live stream for the day. I don't normally do a live stream on today. I normally do them on Monday. However, I thought it'd be fun to record a live episode of the Chris Terrell podcast. I've not done that before. Or I've done that before. I've not done that in a while. I don't know why I said I hadn't done that before, because I definitely have. So we'll just give a few minutes, let people have a chance to show up. For those that don't know, I actually I record the podcast live on Fridays. I do I do them all same day. I used to batch them there for a little while. I tried that, and I'd record them ahead of time. And things kept happening, and then I wouldn't get to it. And like life would get busy, or I remember one time I traveled and I didn't have any in the hopper. And what was happening is I was only good at making them when I could pre-record them. I wasn't good at making them on demand. And so I remember just kind of sitting with that, and I was like, I don't know that that's a good idea. So I started to, I said, well, you know what? Let's just produce the podcast same day. Let's just do it same day. And then when I started doing same day, I started realizing that I'm not very good at talking into a mic without needing to be edited. I needed to edit myself a lot. And so I have over years trained myself to talk in a way that doesn't require so much editing. I used to say and maybe, like, a lot. I still say them. They still work their way into my speech, but I've really worked on getting, just at a minimum, the ums and uhs out of my speech. So, Rhea, I see you putting here. Oh, let's fix that comment. Whoa, it's way in the wrong spot. That's because I don't usually have this. Why is it letting me resize this? There we go. A live, yes, doing a live today because I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be fun to change it up. Let's see. I enjoy watching the replays of the last 3 nights of the seminar. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Love the nail biting comparison, especially since I've been a nail biter since I was a kid. Hey, start throwing fingernail polish everywhere, or fingernail clippers everywhere. Maybe that'll do the trick. Dana, this is awesome. You can catch a live. Well, I'm glad you're able to come here to catch a live. Right here. There we go. It's all backwards for me. But right there, that's where we're going to start the podcast. So actually, I need to get the music queued up. So I'm actually going to work. No, that's not the right one. There it is. All right. So here in a second, or in a minute and 18 seconds, I'm going to stop the feed, the chat feed. I may turn it back on. We'll see. And I'm going to actually go right into recording the podcast for the week. Now, I might need to edit some things. You all are catching this here live. There's not going to be any editing that's necessary. Like, you're going to just hear it as is. So if I make a mistake, you're going to hear the mistake, and you'll kind of see my process. But I just thought that'd be kind of fun. I know I like it when some of my favorite podcasters do some BTS stuff, and I thought it might be fun to do a few BTS things. Karen, I see you joined the guild. Well, excellent. I'm glad you joined the guild. Glad to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Make sure to check your emails. We're sending you a lot of very important emails in the very beginning. All right, we're 30 seconds to showtime. So I'm reading out of this book, a section from this in the podcast today. This will be the main focus of it. I really enjoy this book a lot. I've been consuming this book deeply now for 2 years, and I've made it that far. It's been, or is it 2 years, year and a half? I don't know. It's been a while. Do I still have the receipt? Is this the receipt for when I bought this book? I wonder if that's the receipt. Let's see. If it is, then I'll know exactly when I got it. Nope, that's an office supply receipt. That needs to go in the drawer of receipts. That's too funny. Here it is inside of a book. All right, time's up. Looks like it's time to record the podcast, and I'll get going with that. So let me get everything queued away here. Let's bring the main feed back up. Oh, hey, if you enjoy this, if you like the live streams, if you're here, you probably have already done this. That's probably why you're here. At this point, there's only 20 of you. It's a nice small group, but just be sure to hit that notification bell, and we'll get you covered. All right, so, all right, let's get in the headspace. Yeah, I'm going to do this section here. Yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Terrell, and welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you have, and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now, don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson from it. That's your reward for your troubles, by the way. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down again, before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real-life lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and to my system of belief. Because it's all of those things that created me, and it's all of those things that created me in the past, too. And it's all those things that are going to create me in the future. What? There's different versions of me? Did you know that there's different versions of you too? You got a past, present, and a future. And your lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and system of belief will play an impact on how that looks. Now, if you are looking to get weight loss advice from somebody that's never had to do that, never had to lose weight before, well, you're in the wrong place, because here I've lost a whole bunch of weight, and I'm going to give you weight loss advice that actually works from somebody that actually does it. And last week on the podcast, I talked about some lessons that I've learned since 5 years of losing weight. What are some things I've learned over 5 years of managing my weight as an active thing? You see, first off, I don't know if anybody caught that last week. I didn't shine too big of a spotlight on it, but I started thinking, I don't know exactly when I started thinking this. It was more of an arrival that I started thinking this way. I'm not trying to lose weight. What I'm wanting to do is learn to manage my weight regardless of what is going on. Where my problem was I would only work on losing weight when life was going good. When life was going well, that's when I would go lose weight. If I could be bothered, right? Because now I'm downgrading this good time. I could otherwise be having all this great food, and now I'm not going to have any of that, right? You know, oh, it's summer, it's barbecue season. I don't know if that's the right time. I know life's real bit not too crazy right now, but I don't know if I want to give up all that good barbecue. You know, I love having me some corn and some steak and you know, maybe a hamburger or bratwurst on a good bun. You know, I just love having all that. You know, it's funny thing is I'm thinking of like, I go to maybe 5 of them a summer like that. And so I threw out the whole dang summer. Well, I mean, I didn't put much thought into that logic, but, you know, or there'd be some other time of year. Oh, we don't want to do that. We got a boat trip coming up. Oh, we don't want to do that because it's the holiday season. It's funny. I would throw out months that I could have had progress because of 3 foreseen days that were going to be a problem. 3 days out of 90, and I wouldn't try for the other 97 days or whatever, or 87 days, which I always found to be amusing that I work that way. I don't know why I did that. So in today's episode of the podcast, we are going to be reading from a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now. I really, really enjoyed this book. I did not discover this book on my journey. I discovered it in the maintenance side, and it has been tremendously helpful for me. And I'm going to set the scene why I'm going to share something with you. Most of you are on your weight loss phase. Why am I going to share with you now instead of waiting for you to be later in the journey? But I need to set the scene. But before I set the scene, I want to invite you to come join my free Facebook group. If you have not already joined my free Facebook group, you can find a link to that by going to christerrellcoaching.com, and you'll find a link to it there. And there'll also be a link to it in the show notes of the podcast. And also, if you are unaware, I have a YouTube channel. And this past week, I did a 3-day webinar, totally free. We had 1,000 people take part in it. It was phenomenal. It went great. Tremendously positive feedback from it. And guess what? It's uploaded to YouTube. You can go find it in YouTube. It's there ready. If you missed it, you can go watch it. And I'm just going to leave it there. It's a fun story how that happened. That was not the plan. That happy accident worked out in your favor. So if you want to go watch it and you missed it, or if you want to catch the replay, or if you want to share it with a friend or a relative, it's there. I definitely, if you got a lot of benefit out of the webinar, feel free to share it. I would love it if you did. And if you have not left a review of the podcast, I would love to invite you to leave a rating and a review of the podcast, but only if I have earned it. If you're new here, please give me several episodes to earn a good review from you. And if you feel that I've earned it, please do so. And then lastly, and then we're going to jump to the topic. For those of you, my Spotify listeners, in the show notes, you can literally pull out your phone right now and do this. You can leave a comment directly on the podcast. It's a cool new feature that didn't exist before. And I read every single one of them. Every single one of those comments I read. I love getting them for so long. For so long. It felt like I was talking into the void here of this microphone. Like, because podcasts give you no feedback. There's no comments. It's very difficult to interact with people. So very excited to have that ability to more directly interact with you in this way. All right, so let's jump into the topic of today's podcast, the power of now. And as I said, I need to set the scene for why this book was so important. Now, to tell the scene, I actually need to start at the end and work my way backwards. So let's go to Chris Terrell after he's lost his weight. There's an influencer that he was reflecting back on that he saw at the beginning of his journey. The guy had a YouTube channel named Fire Meets Fat. And this person instilled belief into Chris that he could lose weight. This person looked like him, had a story like him. He had lost all the weight. And he looked at this guy's like, I could do this. And now Chris Terrell is now into the maintenance phase of his journey, thinking, I haven't heard from this guy in years. I haven't seen any posts from him. Maybe he moved on from social media, and every now and then just wondered, like, I wonder whatever happened to that guy. And then one day somebody sends him a message and says, hey, he posted again. It's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you better go watch it. So I went and watched it. And as soon as I loaded the video, I'm greeted with the face of the man that inspired me. And he had gained every single pound back. Every single one of them. And I'm just looking at this going like, why? What happened? What does this mean for me? You know, I already knew that the deck is stacked against me to gain the weight back. I already know that. Like, that was one of the things I did differently this time. I didn't barrel ahead head first, acting like somehow that I'm never going to have to worry about this again. Nah, I just resigned myself to my fate that I'm probably going to have to be at least a little bit concerned with this forever. It does get like tremendously easier, by the way. But it's like, I didn't know this at the time. I was still very new to maintenance. I was still very scared. Very scared at seeing this. And he proceeds to tell the story. And again, I'm not sharing anything he hasn't shared on his YouTube channel. You can go watch the video. But he shares essentially, I'm going to paraphrase his whole long video, and it was mental health. There was old demons, old baggage that showed up in his life and started fucking up his shit. And he wasn't ready to deal with it. And I heard that. And my entire weight loss journey, I told myself, study success and study failure. If you find a bunch of stories of failure, find the common trend. Why did they fail? So you don't repeat it. Don't go learn lessons the hard way if you can avoid it, right? Every failure has a good bit of wisdom wrapped up in it, right? Failure is just wisdom nuggets. And it's fine and all, but it usually comes with some pain. It's like, I don't want the pain. I don't want the pain. So I'm trying to learn, and I'm seeing this guy, and he's telling this story of emotional. It's his mental health that got him, and I'm just thinking, he thought he was fine. He thought he was just fine, and he wasn't. And it got him. And he's now back on the journey. He posts. I monitor and I keep watching him. I'm rooting for him. I'm looking forward to seeing his success again. And I have no doubt that he'll do it. But it was still hard to sit with. And as I continued to sit with it, I started going with it myself and thinking, what is there in me that I've not dealt with that I don't even know is there? What is these things about myself that could totally mess me up that I don't know about, and I'm not dealing with it only because it just hasn't manifested itself. It hasn't shown itself as a problem, right? It's like I start taking care of the headache once the headache shows up, right? And I started realizing, like, mental health, I maybe I should not take a reactive approach. I mean, I had been taking a pretty reactive approach already, or a proactive approach already, but I realized I think I needed to dig in more. And this led me down a journey of self-discovery again, of learning a lot more about myself, one that I didn't know I still had, because the weight loss journey had taught me so much about myself. But on my journey, I discovered something, it's a truth that many people discover. And when we discover it, we tend to think we're the first person that discovered it. It's like we struck gold. And then you start going out there to see, I wonder if other people figured this out. And you come to find out it's in all the books and lots of people have discovered it. And in fact, you have just discovered the same thing that everybody else has discovered. It's not actually new. It's just new to you. You were ready for it. You were ready to learn whatever this thing was that I'm about to tell you. And it's something that I truly hope you learn on your journey, because I think it's a requirement for success. Like, if you don't do this, success is going to remain difficult to find. And success means obtaining a thin, healthy, in shape body and maintaining that, keeping it, right? I'm not saying exact same weight. You can go up and down a little bit. You stay in the happiness zone. We'll talk about that some other time. But lots of people lose weight and gain it back. That's not success. I don't call that success anymore. You can call it success when you've kept it off for a couple years. Then you get to walk around and start saying you've done something. Just losing the weight, that's phenomenal. That's an incredible accomplishment. But that's only part of it. You ain't done. Keep it off. Show you made a change. Demonstrate it. Prove it. You got to just keep going. If you lose weight and gain it back right away, you didn't change. You just went on a little temporary journey. It's fine. You vacationed a little bit. But if you're going, you got to pack up and move. But on this journey, I discovered the power of being present. And look, I had heard of the present moment. It's not like that was some concept I had never heard of before. And I'm not going to insult you and act like you don't know what the present moment is. I know you do. But there's something deeper to it. There's a difference between being in the moment when it's enjoyable and being in the moment when it sucks. You see, I was great at being in the moment when it was pleasurable. That's in fact all I wanted. I wanted to spend as much of my life where the present was filled with pleasure as much as I could. And I discovered that food was one of many things I could utilize to always make the present moment an enjoyable thing. If it's unpleasant, I can make it pleasant. Pretty easy, right? And sure, sometimes life didn't give me that option. Sometimes life made me sit in something miserable, like all day, Boss wants to meet with you at the end of the day. Customer's going to scream at you. Employee quit. Now you got to deal with this mess all damn day until you can go home. Or you get into an accident, or somebody dies, or I don't know, just some sort of something that just sucks. And you just got to sit in it. But you sit in it until you're done sitting in it, and then you make yourself happy again. And when I realized that my journey, in the beginning of my weight loss journey, part of the reason why I gained my weight is I indulged every passing fancy. If I said I wanted something, the answer was yes. Why would I say no? I'm not a child. Only children get told no to. I'm not a child. I'm a grown-up. I don't have to say no. I always get to say yes. And I did, as a grown-up with grown-up money and no boundaries. And I looked like it. And I lived like it. Came in my house. There's a reason I didn't ever want to have visitors. My house wasn't ever visitor ready. My house was disgusting. It was gross. I wouldn't keep it clean. There'd be shit everywhere. I wasn't managing my life. I wasn't managing my health. Wasn't managing my mental health. Wasn't managing my finances. I wasn't managing anything other than my fun. I was managing my fun every way I possibly could. I went to great lengths to always make sure I could have fun when I wanted. But on my journey, I began to realize that for me to actually change, I've got to start changing my actions in the moment. I can't change my actions retroactively. I can do whatever I want to do today and then think about it tomorrow, but there's not a damn thing me tomorrow can do about it. Nothing. Think of you yesterday. There's not a damn thing you can do about what you did yesterday. You did it. It's how it was. It played out. It's done. You get hit by a car, guess what? You can't get unhit by that car. You have now been hit by that car. Like, that's just how this works. And I'm starting to realize this. I'm trying to change my weight loss, and I'm constantly trying to change it using hindsight. Well, I see what I did wrong there. I know what I'll do better in the future. And then, of course, future would become present, but present me was garbage at doing anything. And remember, it is always going to be the me of a present moment that takes the action that gets me the results of my life. Past me already took them, and future me ain't here yet. It's just a fantasy. And I had to start changing this up. I had to start realizing I've got to get myself in the present moment to do the different thing. And the crazy thing is, in the present moment, I don't want to do it. In the present moment, I don't want to take the new path. I want to take the old path. In the present moment, I want to feel good. Why would I feel bad? I could feel good. Consider that with food, you're not usually choosing a food, you're choosing a feeling. Consider that for a moment. You're not choosing, oh, I want pizza. You're choosing the emotional experience you want to have. And a lot of times, if you're an emotional eater, you're trying to manage your emotional state through the use of food, through the use of outside of you activities. Oh, I'm not doing good. I got to put on some music to change my mood. You change your mood. How do you think the music changed your mood? You put the music in and it started playing, and then eventually you found yourself at a place where you made the shifts in your mind. Everything happens inside your own head. And I'm starting to realize this on my journey. I'm like, if I'm going to get myself stop emotionally eating, I'm going to have to find a way to start being present. And I learned that on the journey. And now all the way on the other side, I'm seeing one of my models that I had looked up to has gained all his weight back, and it's due to mental health. And I'm like trying to put all the pieces together. And I'm like, I think the reason why I think I'm going to be okay, because I realized as I got into this, I'm going to be okay. And it's because I got lucky. On my weight loss journey, I inadvertently discovered the present moment. I remember listening to a video by Sadhguru, pretty cool guy, if you haven't ever heard of him. But he was talking about the present moment. But he was talking about it in a way I'd never heard anybody talk about it before. And later in my journey of life, I discovered Eckhart Tolle. And I'd never heard about anybody talk about the present moment like he did. But one of the things that was helping me get through life that I was doing different, something I changed, tangible, that I'm convinced if I hadn't changed this, I would not have been successful with my weight loss. And that is, I started to give 100% attention to whatever it is I was doing. If I was at work, I'm at work. Stop trying to be at home. And if I'm at home, be at home. Don't try to be at work. If I'm on a date, be on the date. Don't be pulling my phone out and going and getting and escaping it to go some other land. Don't be bringing up other topics that take us away from where we're at. If I'm out on a hike, be on a hike. If I'm getting ready in the morning, brushing my teeth, brush my teeth. Just do whatever it is I'm doing. And if I want to do something else, that's fine. Change my mind, but don't try to do two things. And I'll tell you where I picked this up. I love where I picked this up. I love Parks and Rec, and I love the character Ron Swanson. And at the end of the season, he was talking to, was it April or Leslie? I don't remember. But he said, whole-ass one thing, don't half-ass two things. And that really stuck with me because that's such a profound and simple thing. And it's real, though. Whole-ass one thing. Instead of splitting your attention amongst a whole bunch of different things. And again, I'm not talking about the concept of like you're driving your car while listening to the radio. Okay, that's fine. Like I don't see a problem with that. But I'm talking about like when you're at work and you're stressing so much, worrying about something that you're going to be doing after work, that it's making it where you're not getting your work done because your mind is constantly escaping what you're doing and you're not being fully present in where you're at. And then when you get home at the end of the day, now you're so stressed at all the work you didn't take care of during the day because you were so worried about this thing after work. And now that you're here to deal with this thing after work, you can't deal with it because you're so stressed about all the work you didn't get done, and you're going to deal with that tomorrow. It's like your brain is always trying to be somewhere other than it is. And I had to start changing this in my mind. So let's read the snippet here from the book. Because again, if you've never read this book or heard Eckhart talk, like his way of speaking about the present, this might be very new for some of you. I know it was for me. So the way he writes the book, I guess I should explain this. He will have a question written, and then he will answer the question. And it's cool. In the audiobook, Eckhart actually narrates it himself, but another voice reads the question. So it's essentially a big Q&A book. It's really cool. So the section title is, Wherever You Are, Be There Totally. And the question is, can you give me some examples? Can you give me some more examples of ordinary consciousness? And he was speaking in terms of like conscious, unconscious, ordinary consciousness. All right, so let's see. See if you can catch yourself complaining in either speech or thought about a situation you find yourself in. What other people do or say, your surroundings, your life situation, even the weather. Here's the big line. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. On my weight loss journey, I had decided to fully lean into the policy of not complaining as much as I could. It's amazing how much it's still snuck into my life. And I'm reminded of a thing. I started a mission for my church when I was 19 and 20. And I was walking down the street and I saw a guy and he looked at me and he said, "How you doing?" And I said, "Can't complain." And he responded back immediately, "Wouldn't do you any good if you did." And I'd never heard anybody say that to me before. I'd never heard that. And the person said that, and I was like, you're right. It wouldn't do me any good if you did. And then, of course, I promptly proceeded to complain endlessly for the next 20 years. Being a human's funny. And so I eventually figured it out after 20 years. Like, I think I'm going to stop all this bitching. I'm just going to stop whining as much. I still do it some. It gets me. I really try not to do it as much. But I realize what has helped me is really what he says here in this book. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. If I'm whining about something, if I'm bitching about something, I'm saying I don't want reality to be reality. All right, continuing on. It invariably carries an unconscious negative charge. When you complain, you make yourself into a victim. When you speak out, you are in your power. So change the situation by taking action or by speaking out if necessary or possible. Leave the situation or accept it. All else is madness. I was in a musical after losing all my weight. And if you don't know this about musical theater people, they call it a drama program for a reason. Musical theater people love their drama. Holy shit, musical theater people love drama. I love you, my musical theater nerds. Phi Mu Alpha. But like, no, y'all like drama way too damn much. And I'm coming out of this now, a couple of years of my spiritual walkabout weight loss quest that I was on, and I've found myself, and I've arrived at a place where I discovered that I do not like being in the presence of whiners and complainers. I discovered getting them to stop doing that is like asking a fish to stop swimming. This is what they do. It's their fuel. And so I've discovered negative people, the best way to handle them is to exercise your ability to relocate where you are. Just be somewhere else. I discovered that was like that was crazily enough, the number one most used solution for reducing stress and drama in my life was just pick my butt up and leave the room. Just leave the room. Like on my weight loss journey, people in the break room, they like to whine and complain and gossip about each other all the time. And I just remember thinking like, I'll bet y'all do that about me when I'm not in the room. You sure seem to do it about everybody else that's not in this room. And this person was here last week and she's not here. And now y'all are talking smack about her. So what do y'all say about me when I'm not in this room, right? And then I just got to thinking, I'm like, I don't know that I like hearing all this negative bullshit. I don't think I like it. So I just stopped eating in the break room with them. And of course, it's funny they then started spreading crap about me. Be like, whoa. See, they're like trying to suck me in with the drama again. It's like, what in the world? I can't win. And so, but and eventually I just relocated myself away from the company. And that was a contributing reason why, because I was just sick and tired of dealing with the drama. So, anyway, I joined this musical and I discovered something. Whenever there was a bunch of complaining or a situation I didn't like, I discovered I could just leave it, walk away, just leave the room or accept it. And you know what happened? Every time the conversations just started turning negative, I just walked away. I didn't say anything. I just literally slowly backed away, turned around and walked off, and then went and found some other people to talk to. And if I couldn't find anybody else that was being positive, I just went and found somewhere by myself to sit. I have discovered I much prefer to be alone than to hang out with a bunch of whiners and complainers. I just don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to spend 2 minutes in your presence if all you're going to do is just whine and complain. You annoy me. Because it puts out all this negative energy that I got to deal with. I got to work through and process it and release it and let it go. And I found it's just much better just to be leave and you can hang on to your own negative energy. And because I really, really want to live in a world where I accept it for as it is. Because I discovered on my weight loss journey, when I can accept the situation for as it is, it becomes a lot easier to monitor my thoughts. And if I can monitor my thoughts, it becomes a lot easier to make sure that I am making choices that I'm proud of, that I stand by. Let me skip ahead further here in the section. Wherever you are, be there totally. If you find you are here and now intolerable and it makes you unhappy, you have 3 options. Remove yourself from the situation, change it, or accept it totally. Now, as I said, when I joined that musical, the number one most utilized technique I was using was to just leave the room. That was what I did the most, is I just left the room. Over time, I started learning that sometimes you can change the situation playing out in front of you. Sometimes you can change the situation in front of you sometimes. But I started realizing that there are many times in life, many times in life, where I cannot leave the room. It's a situation that is unescapable. Like when my dad died, for example, I could not escape that situation. It was happening. There's nothing I could do about it, which is, in fact, the thing that stressed me out. There's also situations that you can't make it go away and you can't change it either. So and you can't leave it. You can't make it be something different. It is what it is. So how do you handle a situation that is what it is? And what I notice, a lot of people, when they get in their weight loss quest and they emotionally eat, they say, I lost it because of insert situation that they think is a perfectly valid excuse, right? Oh, this was unchangeable. You're right. It was unchangeable. I couldn't avoid it. You're right. Basically what they're saying is, because I got stressed, I emotionally ate. Okay, well, you need to not get stressed. Well, I had to get stressed. Well, why did you have to get stressed? Because this thing happened. No, that didn't tell me why you had to get stressed. Why did you have to get stressed because that thing happened? Because that was a stressful thing. Well, then why didn't you make it go away? Well, I couldn't. Okay. But then why didn't you change it? Well, I couldn't. Okay. Then why didn't you just accept it? What do you mean accept it? I can't. I don't want to accept this. This is bullshit. I'm not going to accept this bullshit. I don't like this thing that's happening. I'm not going to accept this. And therein lies the problem. Right there. You've got a problem, it is unremovable, and you cannot change it, and you're refusing to accept it. And you know what's going to happen when you do that? You're going to get upset. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have an expectation that is now going unmet perpetually. And that's going to freak you out sometimes. That's going to make you stress. If you're an emotional leader, it might turn you to food. I don't know what it's going to do. Let me read on here in the book. If you want to take responsibility for your life, you must choose one of these 3 options, and you must choose now. Then accept the consequences. No excuses, no negativity, no psychic pollution. Keep your inner space clear. If you take any action, leaving or changing your situation, drop the negativity first, if at all possible. Action arising out of insight into what is required is more effective than action arising out of negativity. There's an answer that since I learned of the guy regaining his weight, that I have started utilizing more and more and more and more. And that is just to accept the isness of a situation. Accept the reality for what it is. Something bad happened. Okay. I can fight it and resist it, or I can just accept it. And that's really easy to do when you like it. You got a raise at work. You better accept it. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm going to have to work real hard to accept the reality that I got this raise at my job. There's no resistance there. That's easy. You just lost your job. I can't believe it. I can't believe they fired me. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe my cousin got some tragic thing happened to him or her. I can't believe this terrible thing happened to my kid. I can't believe this person died. I can't believe we were robbed. I can't believe that person screamed at me like that. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. If you hear it, you say it in your speech. You don't want to accept what's happening. You don't want to accept what's happening. But if you don't accept what's happening, you have all this resistance within you. And this creates a tension. This creates a stress. And it's very unpleasant. It's very unpleasant. Back to the book. If there is truly nothing that you can do to change your here and now, and you can't remove yourself from the situation, then accept your here and now totally by dropping all inner resistance. The false, unhappy self that loves feeling miserable, resentful, or sorry for itself can then no longer survive. This is called surrender. Surrender is not weakness. There is great strength in it. Only a surrendered person has spiritual power. Through surrender, you will be free internally of the situation. You may then find that the situation changes without any effort on your part. In any case, you are free. Surrender yourself to the reality of what is happening. Whining and complaining is an evidence that you have not surrendered yourself to the isness of a situation. Many times your life is going to put you in situations that you cannot change and you cannot remove yourself from. And when that happens, you're going to need to utilize the third option, which is to accept it, to surrender to what is happening. And you'll discover as you do that, as you go, oh, this person is acting this way. How interesting. You just marvel at it. Let me continue on here in the book, in another section. Oh. Is there something that you should be doing but are not doing? Get up and do it now. Alternatively, completely accept your inactivity, laziness, or passivity at this moment, if that is your choice. Go into it fully. Enjoy it. Be as lazy or as inactive as you can. If you go into it fully and consciously, you will soon come out of it. Or maybe you won't. Either way, there is no inner conflict, no resistance, no negativity. I want each and every single one of you to live a life that makes you happy and brings you joy. Now, I'm here because many people, they believe their path that will get them there is losing weight. And I'm going to help you do that. But I truly hope that you lose all the weight so that you see that that's not going to make you happy. I hope that you see that it only gives you what you believe it will give you. And it'll be you that gave it to yourself or withheld it from yourself. I want you to live a life of peace. I want you to live a life of joy. I want you to live a life that you are excited to wake up to each and every single day. And for some people, they'll say, I can't do that. My life is too terrible. Well, then that's exactly what will happen. That's how your life will be. But it doesn't have to be. It could be different. You could change your mind. You can change your mind about how you see something, about how you see your situation, about how you see yourself. You can just accept it for what it is. Surrender yourself to the situation. You know, it's funny. When I started my business, I wanted to give it the best possible chance of success. I was embarrassed about the first apartment I lived in. Literally, the month I moved in, somebody was shot and killed in the building next to me. It was cheap. I didn't want to draw any money from the business. I wanted to make sure it was safe. So I was keeping my income as low as I could. I was sleeping on a cot. I didn't even have a bed. I was borrowing the cot from my brother. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so cool. This is amazing. I'm so excited I'm here. I took a picture of this cot. I'm like, this is part of my story. I'm going to look back at this and be like, look where I came from. I worked my way out of this. This is awesome. I look back at my dad dying and saying, like, this is my origin story. This is where I begin. This isn't where I end. I decided to look at it different. The pandemic showed up. I'm like, I'm going to look like an absolute fucking badass when I come out of the pandemic with abs. P.S. I did. I just changed the story as it was happening in the moment. I didn't have any resistance to the pandemic. Eventually. I did it first. But then eventually I surrendered to it because I realized it was easier. Just surrender to the fact that it's happening and there's not a damn thing I can do about it, except learn how to live in it and work with what I have. If you got a lazy day, fine, give into it. Stop resisting it. The resistance is making you miserable, and the resistance is what's going to drive you to emotionally eat. And I can't have you getting your goal if you're emotionally eating the whole damn time. And remember, getting your goal is losing all your weight and keeping it off. All right? It's not a flex to lose the weight and put it back on. Not impressive. Not impressive. Keeping it off is impressive. I'd rather you lose 50 pounds and keep it off for 2 years than lose 100 pounds and gain it back in a year. The first person's the impressive one, not the second. You've got to make sure that you are moving towards success. And the way to do that is you got to work on your emotional eating. You got to work on your heart. You got to work on your mind. You got to make yourself happy. Does the past take up a great deal of your attention? Do you frequently talk and think about it, either positively or negatively? The great things you have achieved, your adventures, your experiences, or your victim story and the dreadful things that were done to you, or maybe what you did to someone else. Are your thought processes creating guilt, pride, resentment, anger, regret, or self-pity? Then you are not only reinforcing a false sense of self, but also helping to accelerate your body's aging process by creating an accumulation of past in your psyche. Verify this for yourself by observing those around you who have a strong tendency to hold on to the past. Die to the past every moment. You don't need it. Only refer to it when absolutely relevant to the present. Feel the power of this moment and the fullness of being. Getting my emotional eating under control required me to learn to be completely present with myself. With learning to go, how is this all good? You know, sometimes it's hard to know how something is good when you're in the middle of it. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years before you can see how something was good. But don't be too quick to judge something in the moment as bad. You can say it's unpleasant. Sure. Sometimes things are unpleasant. I mean, getting a shot is unpleasant. That doesn't mean it's bad. And just because something's good doesn't make it good. Doesn't make it the right thing to do. Pleasurable feelings aren't always good. You know? Feels pretty pleasurable, I hear, to do meth. Never done it. Feels pretty pleasurable, I hear, to do heroin. Never done it. But that doesn't make them good for you to do. Pleasure is not the thing that tells you if something's right or wrong, helpful or unhelpful. Pain is not the thing that tells you if something is helpful or unhelpful. Not at all. Not by a long shot. So if you want to increase the peace in your life, become more present with yourself in the unpleasant moments. In the unpleasant moments. It's easy to be present when it's pleasurable. But when you can learn to be present and grateful for the moment when it is deeply unpleasant, that is going to transform you and leave you so much better off when you do that. And I highly encourage that you do that. All right, we're going to wrap up the podcast here. Thanks so much for being here. Great to have you. And as I said, go check out my YouTube channel where you can find replays to the webinar from this past week. And feel free to share with anybody that you think might benefit from that. See you next week on the Chris Terrell Podcast. Hey, YouTube. Hi. So you all got to listen in on a live rebroadcast here. I've done this once before. I thought it was fun, so I thought it'd be fun to just do this now. Let's see how we got. Oh, we got 30 people, so we got a few of y'all came in here. I'm recognizing a lot of guild names here. Oh, Laura, sorry, I spoiled this one for you. I guess you'll have to listen to it again. Have you listened to all the guild podcasts? Did you know, Laura, that we have like 45 guild podcasts too? Those are really good. Definitely recommend listening to those. They don't come out anymore, but there's still 45 of them. Hey, Mike, for the record, it is like cold and rainy here. That tropical storm is bleh. So, Candace already got me covered. Rain. Let's see here. I'm just looking here at the comments. Well, Mike, you're having a rough week, month. I'm glad this helped. Shoot me a text, man. Came out of the pandemic. The pandemic. I mean, pandemic was brutal, right? I mean, look, if I hadn't have sat there at the beginning and basically said, I'm going to make the pandemic my bitch. If I hadn't essentially said that to myself 100 times, 1,000 times, I'm not sure I'd have done it because it was hard. I mean, it was really, really hard. And I had to get really resourceful. And I also had momentum. Like if that had happened in my first 3-4 months of my journey, I'd have been toast. I mean, that would have been too big of a blow too soon. But I was 9 months in? Like I was really feeling good. Larry, you put in here, what if it's your wife or adult children? I'm assuming based on the context of what I was saying, talking about like you can't change the situation and accepting it. I'm going to assume that's it. It's still the same answer. It's hard though, but it's just you equanimity. You approach these difficult, hard moments in a state of equanimity. State of calmness, of a certain sense of surrender to what is happening. Actually, here. Let's see if I may not remember where this is in the book. I don't know where it is. Just look at it as these are opportunities to improve yourself. Opportunities to improve myself. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to run the pandemic. I tell you what, I had so much sympathy for the folks that were doing the pandemic because I was like, man, no matter what you do, you're pissing off so many people. I mean, gosh, it just would have sucked so bad to be over that. So, all right, everyone, I'm gonna wrap up here. I got a work meeting to scurry off to. This was fun having you here. I know it's just a handful of you, but it was fun having you here while I broadcast the podcast, everybody. And you can see how it works. So, I mean, just so you know, I consider this one a success. I will literally not edit it at all. So I will trim off the ends of the beginning part. This part right here, I'll trim it off and I'll upload it and that'll be it. I might remove a little dead space, but I'm pointing this out because I have been working for years to be at a place where I could talk for 45 minutes in a way where I'm like, I don't feel like I need to edit that up too much. I could probably whittle and tighten it up to like 25, 30 minutes, but I don't want to, to be honest. And the other part I've realized is like, I like listening to people work out stuff out loud. It helps me. I like hearing a person work out a concept as they talk through it, which is really, really helpful. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up here. Thanks for seeing anybody. I will talk to you all Monday, I guess. I'm back here Monday with my normal Monday morning live streams as well. And, if you hadn't noticed, I leveled up. It's been kind of fun having camera 1, camera 2, and then camera 3 right here. I've been enjoying that. Like that feels, the studio's had a little bit of a level up recently, and I'm enjoying that. And I want to start getting other people in here. I picked up a second one of these because I want to do some good podcasts. So anyway, talk to y'all later. Great to see you.